All right, we're live today on SampleServe Masterclass Wednesdays. We just did our stretches, so we're feeling nice and loose. Uh, I'm Joshua Paul with SampleServe Marketing Director, and today I have with us I got Russell Schindler, founder and CEO of SampleServe, and Paul Goodrow of Venoran Partners. Excuse me. Both of them are geologists with over, each of them have at least 35 years experience in the environmental services industry. And just a little heads up, if you guys find this any helpful information here and you know somebody that would like to see this, give this link a share to them. And also any comments or anything, put them in the chat at any time. We'll get to them. And even after this is done, we'll get to any comments as well. So Paul, give us a little understanding what we do here on Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays, every Wednesday we get together with our users or potential users and really share tips and tricks on how to implement and use the SampleServe solution. And furthermore, beyond just our solution, we want to encourage everybody who is out there in the industry to make this change in using technology to enhance your services and to develop your clients even further. I mean, we're at a really point in the industry where digital transformation is in vogue, but also necessary. And those people that take on digital solutions, I think, are going to serve their clients better, make more money, and have a more fulfilling career. So we're here to help you do those three things.
Perfect. Now, today we have a little special one for you guys. We want to talk about a case study that we have. We have a digital partner that we've gotten called Antea Group. You may have heard of them. They're a mid-size environmental firm throughout the country. And we like to go over how we're more than just a software company. We build relationships with companies more than just what your average software company does. So Paul, give us a little understanding of how we build relationships with environmental firms.
Sure. Well, we have a partnership model which we've developed a while ago, and it looks at really 4 categories of businesses where we believe we can affect the value they bring to their customers. So whether it's a laboratory or whether it's another digital solutions provider or consulting engineer or an equipment manufacturing rental company, those 4 categories are areas where we can help them enhance their business through our digital solution. And the second part is, I'm old enough to remember where adopting a digital solution, or let's say a software in companies, required you to change your business process. Now, some of that's good because generally business processes, grow over time and they get to be duplicative or redundant or inefficient or whatever. And it's always good to take a look at what your business process is, but it's not necessary now to conform all your business processes to the software requirements. And if you think about it, if everybody did that, no one would have a unique business process, therefore not creating any differentiation in the marketplace, right? So just think through that. If everybody had to use the same work process, same software as designed, then there'd be no differentiation, at least in the development of that work product. So our theory is that we want to work with companies to really help them develop their business process or adhere to or align with their business processes. Now, of course, we're going to make recommendations on things that can be done faster, better, cheaper. But in essence, the business process that they use, that they feel is differentiated in the marketplace, can be replicated and enhanced by our software. And so this is a story about how a client came to us and said, we have this business process, we have these clients, we have these needs. We like what you start with. We like the core functionality of your product, but we want you to enhance it to align better with our business process. So that's kind of the high fly, I think, of why we develop strategic partnerships, is to add value and align our software solution, our digital solution, with a customer's business process.
Perfect. Now, what every business has to go through is every business right now is going through the decision of build versus buy, because there used to be not a lot of options out on the market there, and now that there's a growing list of options, SampleServe included. We think we're the best one, obviously, but Russell, you've dealt with many firms that have gone through this build versus buy dilemma, and what do you think about that?
Well, some of them are still going through it. Antea, who we're talking about here, they went through it, right? And I don't really know whether they actually started building anything or not, but I do know that they went through the process of evaluating whether or not they were going to build something. And part of you kind of touched on it there. As part of that process is looking to see what's out there. And then if you go back 5-6 years ago, there really wasn't much out there, especially anything that was reasonably cost effective, and then had all the features and functionalities that people would want. There really wasn't much out there, so kind of building was on the table, right? Even though they weren't a software company, was kind of like something they needed to do. But as more products enter the market, buying obviously becomes a more viable concept and viable product, and everyone's product's getting better all the time. I don't care what industry, and everyone continually improves their products, and so buying becomes more effective, quicker, faster, probably way less expensive as well.
Right. And what we have noticed is when companies do decide to buy, is the best practice for that is finding a digital champion in your firm. We see a lot more titles, like digital transformation, somebody that's in charge of finding new products out there and giving them the ability to go out and find it and make a decision, and then also give them the ability to get everybody on board in the firm so that it can be rolled out properly.
And sometimes that's an official title that's given to somebody, and sometimes it's just unofficial. Somebody kind of self-appoints themselves to look for different solutions, and they don't really have the title, but that's kind of what they've chosen to do.
Right. But there usually needs to be somebody just in charge of this that has the power and the authority to go out and make the change possible. That's right. What we've noticed, at least. Now, when it comes to SampleServe, we have a few steps that we like to implement when it comes to building a strategic relationship with a firm. And the first one is obvious. It's a demonstration. We like to, anybody who is in charge, any kind of decision maker, we like to get in front of them, either in person or through a video call. And Russell, give us a little overview of what you show people during a demonstration.
Yeah, so it really, the first part is really it's got to be scheduled, and some people see these shows here, email somehow they schedule something. They can schedule it automatically through, links that I have in emails and on our website. So how it gets scheduled is kind of different each time, but they do schedule something, and then first thing I do is walk them through a PowerPoint. Right, it's important that they have a good overview of kind of what we do. We don't go into a lot of detail. The demonstration that I give are usually on the web. Web meetings, I have done them in person. More and more are on the web, obviously, but I still like to do them in person as well. And then, we'll get them set up. We give them some information on how to create an account. They could literally go create the account right away. If they've got mobile devices, they can literally start sampling, and we just kind of go from there. To show them how they can get started, and there's some documents as well with links and how to get this thing going, and training videos as well.
Typically, Russell, with a larger firm like Antea, you would oftentimes give more than one demonstration. It would start with one person, and then you'd give they'd show their higher up, and then you go up to the top and then show them.
Yeah, depending on the size of the organization, sometimes your first meetings with the decision maker. Most of the time, especially in larger organizations, you kind of have to give it, 2, 3, 4 times before you get to the guy who's going to pull the trigger on it.
Right.
And generally, generally we can answer some of the initial questions, right, Russell, like security,
yes,
and hardware types and things like that are kind of the first things people think about.
Yep.
So we can discard or answer or address some of the initial, questions at that first meeting.
Yep.
And then you get into this, and actually you just did this, right, with a company in France yesterday, right?
Yep,
the first step.
Yep.
And
Did it twice yesterday, actually, 2 different demonstrations.
And then Paul, go over. You were there during the discovery process with Antea. What did you guys go over, and what kind of topics were you guys discussing?
Yeah, well, I think this boils down to how's this match? So we have core functionality, right? So the first part is to demonstrate we have core functionality. And SampleServe's core functionality is around sample collection, chain of custody, and reporting. So that core functionality goes, okay, that's a great start. The discovery process is, what other things do you need? What other things can we enhance and do better for you to align with the business process? So that's around the field app, what type of field forms you need, what kind of field functionality you need. It goes around what lab are you working with? How do we integrate with that laboratory? And finally around reporting. There's all kinds of different reporting requirements that companies have. So those are kind of the big areas, and then we tweak other things that may be more cosmetic, for companies. But
Right.
I think the core areas are around your project management functionality, how do you get your teams together, your field application, your chain of custody, and your laboratory reporting. So those are the core functionalities. We talk about them and try to align our functionality with their needs.
And another thing we like to understand is, what does your database look like?
Yeah.
Who are you using for your database? Is it just a filing cabinet, or is it Excel, or is it Equus?
Yeah. Do they have a central hub, or do everyone store their information on their own hard drive? Yeah.
And then afterwards, once we figured out their needs, we discussed some customization and capability enhancements that specifically fit them. Now, what we like to see is when somebody has a need, that this need also fits other firms' needs, because it's really nice and easy to make an implementation or improvement in our app that everybody can enjoy. But for Antea specifically, we made several customizations for them that is also available to any user that signs up today.
Yeah. Equus Export is one of those that they require. So they do a lot of work for bigger oil companies, and those oil companies like to store their data in an Equus database. And so they wanted to create an automated export. So we created that export into the proper format. And it just exports once a day. It's kind of a one-way export. Every day at I think 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we look at what was sampled that day, grab those files, and then if they're an export project, they'll switch a little toggle, and it'll take that data and actually export it out to Equus, and then they move it into that particular oil company's database.
Yeah, and we also added, custom event forms. This is something that we've always wanted to add, but it was something specifically asked for by Antea, as well as like geofencing on our field app, where, if you're not close to the sample location that you have in the database, it'll tell you, hey, this is not the location you're supposed to be at. And then also assigning samplers, which, something that we've thought about, but also, it just makes sense, because now you can divvy up the work in between samplers, and they know exactly, the field techs know exactly which jobs are theirs, when it's happening, because everything gets pushed to their app.
Yeah, and we're creating customization for our clients all the time. As a matter of fact, the company that Paul mentioned in France yesterday, they've got a couple of unique features they want us to customize, and we're happy to do that.
Yeah. So after we get everything set up, how long did that take? It took us 2 months to add all that extra stuff for them. But typically, because these were bigger, additions, typically it only takes us a week to 2 weeks to add something that somebody asked for.
Yeah, it depends on what that actual feature and functionality is.
Right. And then the next step after that is, getting everybody trained and up to date on our system. And that typically doesn't take long. Russell does video demonstrations. If you can add the whole team, you can just do a certain office and then go by office. And then we also have a how-to video library, which is very helpful for a lot of users. We've noticed a lot of users will go on, they'll start watching some of the how-to videos, and there's links all over the app that you can just watch a video. They're only about 2 to 3 minutes long each. And we've noticed that people will watch, the first 4 or 5, and then afterwards they kind of get it. And, they start just, using it on their own. And then if they ever need help, they can go to those how-to videos. We also have 24/7 online support. There's a little orange button in the corner. You can always click that and text, or it has an AI functionality that gives you, honestly, better answers than what I can give sometimes, because this thing is really smart.
And it's fast too.
And it's fast, yeah. And then also, when we build relationships with companies, they can just personally message us too. We get text, phone calls all the time from companies that are looking for help.
My cell phone rings almost daily with somebody asking me, how to do something. I'm happy to do that as well.
Right. So. And then after that comes the implementation. So with Antea, what they did was they did a field trial with one office. We trained the staff there. And the nice thing is that once you train one group of staff, that staff can go on and train the rest of their staff. It only takes 1 to 2 hours, really to train somebody. And after that, it rolled out to the first office, and now they're rolling it out to the rest of their offices. Currently, they have 48 sites with 6 offices, and they're adding new sites every single week. And then another thing, Russell, talk about how we help them with the Texas drinking water contract that they have.
Yeah, so that after they got exposed to and could see the functionality of our software, they had this big project that they've been doing for quite a while, and it's sampling all the municipal drinking water wells and locations in the state of Texas. So it's a large number of samples per year. And so they're like, hey, let's take a look at this. Maybe we can get your software working for this project, because it has some very unique features and functionality that are requirements by the state of Texas. And so it took us, probably 4 months to kind of really develop that work scope. We put together a cost, and then we built that functionality. It's really kind of an addition to our current app. Again, very unique features required by the state of Texas. But we've got that completed, and we should start that whole program in 2024. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, excited for that. And then Paul, so you're the leader of our digital partner program.
Right.
Explain to us what becoming a partner means for us and the company that signs up to become a partner.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, a lot of software systems or companies are developing what they call partner ecosystems, but in essence, our core application can serve multiple type clients. And so we want to engage in partnership relationships with laboratories. We have a great contract with Eurofins, with Antea as a consulting engineer. In situ, we have a partnership with for instrumentation. We're still looking for compatible digital solution partners that will allow us to put our solution into their digital platform and make it even better. And so if we can integrate all these customers or partners, we can develop a platform, not just a solution, but a platform, which means we're providing benefits to every one of our partners as much as, if not more, than we're receiving as a company. So that's the whole strategy behind developing the partner ecosystem.
Yeah, and you can sign up to become a partner. Just go to Become a Partner tab on our website, SampleServe.com. And you'll go through the same process as what Antea went through. Customer discovery. We'll show you the app, and I think we're going to end it right there, perfectly on time, Paul.
Well, Josh, I have one thing to add.
Let's do it. You got a minute.
Can I do this?
Yeah, you got a minute.
I've been thinking about how to characterize this kind of in my terms as a geologist, Russell and I. To me, this SampleServe is like the service from a local hardware store. Right. Mm-hmm. So the other day I was looking for a grommet that I needed for my car. There's a little plastic plug I needed to put in one of my plastic things in my car. Right. Well, I went to Deweese. I can't remember. How's it pronounced?
I think it's Deweese.
Deweese. Okay. Well, the local hardware store here in Traverse City, because I knew they had what I needed. I didn't know where it was in the store. But I went in there. They directed me to the grommets. I picked out the grommet. I went outside. Right. And versus the Home Depot, right? So Home Depot, I would have spent 5 hours looking for this grommet, and they probably wouldn't have had it, right? So again, lining the business process, my grommet, with the service provided by Deweese, but also the prices of the Home Depot, right? So if you look at SampleServe, my analogy is that you're getting the local hardware service with the Home Depot prices. We haven't talked about prices, but I can assure you our prices are competitive, reasonable, and appropriate for the services we deliver. So that's my analogy.
Well, oftentimes there's no price because the project management tool and the field app for SampleServe is free to use for anybody.
Right. Yep.
So you can't beat free. All right, guys, thank you very much, and thank you for your time for watching this. Make sure you give this a share to somebody you think this would be helpful to as well. If you if you're in the industry, another firm, somebody in another firm that's thinking about making the switch, definitely share them this, and look out for. We're not going to have this next week because it's the holidays.
Yep.
We'll look out for early January. So thank you guys. Have a happy holidays and a wonderful new year. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Russell. And we'll see you guys.
We'll see it.